This is the story all about how I just watched episode 7 of Paradise. I was correct in the last video when I said we're like in the pressure cooker. This was the episode. This was the meat of the sandwich of this season that we were building up to. And so I am so intrigued once we get to, I believe the finale is next week. It's either episode 8 or episode 9. I would like to title this video essay recap, whatever I'm doing here, with, anyone want to go halfsies on a bunker? This episode had so much. I have written 7 pages worth of notes. It has packed in the details, the themes, the symbolism, the action, the dialogue, the acting, the directing, the shots. Mwah. This episode is a masterpiece, and I hope this episode is nominated for a WGA award, which is a Writers Guild of America award, and an Emmy, and a Golden Globe, and any other possible award that this episode should get. And this episode should be taught in film and television studies courses at every university possible that will exist now and forevermore. Amen. Okay, episode 7. It is literally titled The Day because the day is here. We're finally going to find out what happened that set it all off. What is this doomsday apocalyptic event that we were on a ticking time bomb and a ticking time clock for? Why were we building this bunker? Why are we living in this bunker? Why do we have to get the people to the bunker? The day is finally here. What I forgot to mention in the last episode was this hint of 10 days. We see Dr. Terry Rogers Collins leave Xavier for her trip to Atlanta, and she says, see you in 10 days. So we are led to believe at the end of the last episode that this event is going to happen in 10 days. Nope, we were wrong. 10 days has become mere minutes. They did not have the technology to keep up with the global warming and the Arctic volcano that is erupting and turning into a tsunami to foreshadow when this would happen. So I'm guessing it's basically been 24 hours since what happened in the previous episode in the past, in the before times. However, before we get to that, we begin this episode by setting the scene with the Cuban Missile Crisis. Cuban Missile Crisis happened October 1962. We see this general switch on and off this light switch. We keep looking at these models of rockets and missiles and submarines as well. That is a little Easter egg to remember. Okay, cut to Sinatra. She's got Xavier hostage. She's very straight with it. She's talking about like, your wife is alive. And immediately as the audience member, I was like, bish, I want proof that Dr. Collins is alive. Little did I know, later on in the episode, I'm going to get proof. Anyway, so the doomsday event is happening. My question is, why is it that in American programming, we center ourselves in programming? So these doomsday events that we depict on screen, they always hit places across the world first, and somehow the US is always the lost. Somehow the Western world is always the lost. So RIP Australia, RIP South Africa and Chile. It is what you would say in British slang, peak. Like, it is grave. It is bad. It is bad. Australia is gone. No longer exists. That is only the tip of the falling volcanic iceberg of this episode of the chaos that is to follow, right? Question: who chooses who lives and who dies? Because there is a cabinet member who later on we find out her name is Marsha. Oh, Marsha, R.I.P. Marsha, who asks Xavier for information on whether or not she should be alarmed and go pick up her child from daycare. She's kept out of the loop. we're introduced to this group called the Svobodka group. I feel like we're going to need to remember this later. So I don't know who they are now, but they do something. The code name, if you're one of the 25,000 people who will be ushered into the new world, is Versailles. Go for Versailles. That is very interesting to me because Versailles, site of the French Revolution. Versailles, also where the peace treaty happened after the Second World War that led to the founding of the League of Nations, which was the precursor to the United Nations. Isn't that interesting? French Revolution, war, peace, Versailles. Something is coming. There is a revolution coming. Things will never be the same. Go for Versailles. I found that interesting. Okay, let's get through these notes. There's a lot to tackle. Who chooses who knows what and when? Who knows the classified information, who doesn't? Because we're introduced to a Secret Service agent who is uninformed. He's just doing what he's told. Zoom in on the black custodian we see who's polishing the table in the West Wing like it's business as usual while there's chaos happening around him. Isn't that interesting? There's another black person just like, I'm just gonna mind my business. These people freaking out, I'm just gonna mind my business. To some of us 92%ers, let's not put our lives on the line, but let's also be aware. Stay what? Woke. Stay aware, stay educated, and prepare. That's the message I got from that. So there's chaos happening. There's traffic gridlocks. We see there's sound waves that make your ears bleed. Communication is down. Xavier can't contact his wife. Planes are grounded. There's no forewarning. It's just happening. Boom, boom, boom. Anywhere, anytime. Chaos. Xavier has a BlackBerry. They still make BlackBerries? The president records a press conference that they are meant to air after he has been evacuated, which as an audience member, I'm like, we are not influencers, content creators doing a schedule post. These are people's lives. You can't just be like, by the way, there is an apocalyptic event happening, but I'm already gone. Deuces. Take care of yourselves. Bye. Like, what? Okay, Xavier trying to get his wife to safety. 25 miles from the airport is military field, and she has to get there in an hour and 15 minutes, otherwise it's gonna go, and it's a time crunch, and the stakes. The pressure cooker or the pot is starting to bubble over. The things are being cooked. They're being cooked thoroughly, inside and out. Question. So one of the lower thirds in these news reports mentions that people in Paris had discovered a hidden bunker. And later on, we find out that this bunker, which we know is inside a mountain as established, is in Colorado. So if the one in Colorado is filled with 25,000 people, there possibly could be other bunkers around the world. Which leads us to our nuclear war, which we're going to talk about later. Okay. And who lives, who dies, and who tells a story is the thing that came to me, very Hamilton. Oh, the moment with the black custodian who had, oh my gosh, he had served in the White House, the West Wing for decades. He said he'd lived through stuff. So when he's told that, hey, this is a disaster, or like, this is bad, call your family, he's like, I've heard that all before. I'm just like, he says, it's my granddaughter's birthday tomorrow. And I said, not the grandbaby's birthday tomorrow. She's not gonna see a birthday because there is not going to be a tomorrow. This is when I start getting stressed. Okay, non-essentials stay here. Who is essential and who is not? And who determines who is essential and who is not? I mean, I understand protecting the president, but in this doomsday scenario, saying that you and I are non-essential, constituents who voted to put this man in power are non-essential, but these billionaires are essential. Think about that. Chew on that. Okay, what I also discovered during this episode is we were saying goodbye and mourning characters whose stories and background we never even got to know. So from custodians to staffers and cabinet members and the chef who allegedly made the best damn god burgers that President Cal Bradford ever had. We've got the agent, the one who it's his third day on the job, being given a gun and just told, hey, guard the door. But he has no clue what's happening, no questions asked. Oh, this is the part where I said I need to remember to breathe. Okay, so because of the discourse with the custodian, the president decides, do you know what? This whole schedule posting, that ain't it. Let me just go live and tell the people what's what so that they can prepare, say goodbye, and hope for the best. Which is somewhat better, but still it's very peak. It's very despairing. It's very dismal. The president goes on live with the networks like, breaking news, we disrupt this programming to introduce President blah, blah, blah. He goes live with no tie on, no makeup, no presidential pin. There's no teleprompter. He hasn't been prepped. Speaking off the cuff, which what? Signals that this is urgent. It's an emergency. And then he says what we've been waiting to hear this entire episode and probably the season, that there is an imminent worldwide disaster coming. Can we talk about the fact that Presley isn't wearing braids that day? So how long has it been since this event? Also, Robinson had her nice little blowout, long, relaxed hair, natural hair, whatever, hair. And in the present day, she's got that short little wig on. How long has it been since all of this happened? Have people celebrated birthdays in the bunker? Questions. Oh, Marcia asks, she assumes because she'd been in cabinet with the president and been with the president since the very beginning that she's coming with him. She's like, hey, Mr. President, I just gotta go fetch my son and my sister. They're here. They're waiting at the gate. He's like, I'm sorry, boo, you ain't getting on the plane. Can you imagine that? Telling staffers to their face that they're being left behind. Was it during the devastation recently in Asheville where there were people who worked for a specific company that were told that even though there was a storm coming that they had to work? Because it sounds like that. We need you to make sure the White House is secure while we're gone. Secure for what? Then Xavier drops his phone because he was trying to reach his wife. So everything is starting to unravel and we're shooting our staffers. Would you do what Cal Bradford did and would you alert the people of what's coming? Or would you have followed the plan that was, set in the binder months ago and not tell them and do the pre-scheduled press conference thing because ignorance is bliss? What would you do? And I'm like, no wonder the president drinks and no wonder they need all that alcohol supply because either way, it was just going to be a bad situation. Can we talk about the fact that the dude who's in charge of carrying the football was shot? So Xavier is almost at the helicopter and they're like, the football! And he's like, damn it. And he has to go, which is crazy because later on, that football is opened up and the president makes the choice to do the blue codes instead of the red codes. And the blue codes wouldn't have happened had Xavier not stepped up, ran, and got the football. Whoa, that is beautiful storytelling. And then the Secret Service dude is shot. R.I.P. Poor dude. And the image of just leaving the South Lawn and Xavier's got eye contact with frickin' Marcia. I feel for Marcia and I don't even know who she is. I'm under the the opinion and impression that Marcia was a real one and they left her behind. They did my girl Marcia bad. Anyway, they leave the South Lawn and that is a very haunting image. So again, does anyone want to go halfsies on a bunker? Xavier almost doesn't want to get on the plane to the place. Would you stay and find your wife? Or would you orphan your children? Question. And also, when does the chain of command and order cease to exist during a biblical doomsday event? When? I say biblical because we see the swarm of birds. And birds are what? They are known in spirituality to be messengers between worlds. Those birds were swarming because something was off with the weather. All right, Xavier gets on the plane, hugs his kids, starts mentally preparing for his life as a single father of 2. A plane goes down, and immediately I'm like, who was on the plane? Turns out it was the justices and Congress. Because we are what? We are now in nuclear war. We are now fighting for survival. And I feel for Xavier. He's having such a bad day at work. He's just finally sitting down. You see the blood on his collar. He's having the worst day possible. They're all having a bad day. You just think, I'm going to go to work. La, la, la. It's like, oh, the world's ending. You're like, what? Bad day at work. Anyway, we're in the fight for survival. My question is, for what? What are we protecting at this point? Is it just civilization? Ideal? What are we protecting? That's something I need to chew on. Cut to, the president tells us about the blue codes. We all know about the red codes, but we don't know about the blue codes. The blue codes, who was started by the colonel from the top of the episode, who is involved with the Cuban Missile Crisis, to develop codes to stop global EMPs. I was like, what is a global EMP? Let me look this up. That stands for electromagnetic pulses. Basically, no more microwaves, no more fridges, no more phones, no more internet. It's going to take the planet back 500 years. Would you launch the missiles, or would you just unplug the world? Sinatra, freaking out in her mama bear fear mode, is like, we just got to kill everyone to protect ourselves for a life. What is this rebooting the world? Launch the missiles. We witnessed the last conversation between Xavier and his wife. And my girl, Dr. Terry Rogers Collins, I love her down. She is mothering till the end. She's like, tell the children, tell them it's okay to be happy. I'm like, she's mothering till the end. She has no time to think about herself. She's thinking about her kids. She's thinking about her kids. And then you got Xavier on the phone like, I'm with you. I got you. I'm here. I'm protecting you. And in that moment, I said, what? Give this man the Emmy. Leading man in a television series. Give it to who? Sterling K. Brown. My campaign to get him to win it begins now. This man sees his wife die in real time. He's seen like the missile head to Atlanta. That's when I was like, I think I need to start watching these episodes with a group of people in real time, but that might be an hour-long show, and no one has that time. I'm thinking this is super long. Anyway, finally, we come back to present day, where that damn Sinatra pulls out the proof that I asked for at the top of the episode. Proof that his wife is alive. Dr. Terry Rogers Collins, and I'm looking for my husband and my children who are in Colorado. Sinatra, you bitch. Xavier ain't playing. He's like, tell me where the F my wife is. Bum, bum, bum. Shots fired. Because we ain't playing. We are not playing. Sinatra's like, okay, you can shoot me. I just gotta make a quick little phone call. I was like, we do not negotiate with terrorists. In this scenario, Sinatra is the fucking terrorist. You remember frickin' Jane basically kidnapped our girl Presley. Finally, Xavier finds this out. But basically, he finds out that she isn't at the tavern where she was supposed to be. Has she not listened to... Oh, sorry, I'm getting very loud. Followed instructions. But Sinatra knows where she is. And that's when I said, ooh, this lady's a villain. And immediately she says, look at me, I sound like a Bond villain. And I said, Sinatra, you a fucking monster. And she ends up the episode by saying, maybe I am a monster. And she sips her little adult beverage of a whiskey or whatever it is. Whiskey straight. This episode gave me a lot to think about in terms of what is happening currently in this country and in this world, how fast climate change is accelerating, especially at the hands of artificial intelligence and technology, and people just fast fashion and pollution and all of the things and people being jerks. So I know it's hard to think about, but maybe let's prepare. And again, who wants to go halfsies on a bunker? Okay, I'll see you at the next episode. Bye.